I remember being 7 years old, and I used to sit on the back row of the church. I remember feeling the strong presence of God, and as soon as it would get really high, I would run out the door, knowing the presence of God. I knew that, but for me also, my parents weren't living that at home. I watched my mom go through really hard things, abuse, verbally, physically. Because she was abused, she didn't know how to be, a parent to me. She was the best parent that she could be, but I learned how to really suppress things, not have a voice at a very young age, and I would hide in this bubble and feel like no one was there. And my dad left when I was around 8 years old. He got in a really bad car accident that almost killed him, and before that he was a great father. Those things kind of produced roots in my own life. I was molested at a very young age, and those things made me turn to pornography at a very young age. Those things taught me that it was okay to touch other kids, it was okay to do this and do that to your family members. And the enemy at a very young age planted those seeds, and I carried that guilt for a long time. I graduated high school, and I didn't have anybody telling me what to do anymore, and I followed the crowd, and I started drinking really heavy in college, and before you know it, my grades had failed, and I was kicked out of school. I went back to school. The college let me come back, and this time when I went back, I was ready to go to school, and I was working, and then I met another guy, and this is a Christian guy, and I just needed somebody to fill those voids and those empty places in my life. And then it's betrayal after betrayal. Found out that he was homosexual, and back down in the pit again. But one thing that came out of that guy and invited me to his church. I went to the church once that Sunday, and I was sitting on the back of the row, and that feeling from my childhood kind of came back up, that presence, that I knew about. And I didn't run from it this time, but I ran to the altar, and I gave my life to the Lord. I started going to that church, doing the Bible studies. I was still struggling with drinking, and I said, I need something. And I met a couple from Carlsville, Tennessee. I moved there later on, and I found out about Mercy. I went to apply for Mercy, and I got accepted within a couple of weeks. They called me, and I went to the Mercy House, and that's where God really took me through a really deep healing process, where I started to deal with the molestation and the roots of the daddy issues and the mommy issues, and those things that caused me to, turn to pornography and eating disorders and all of that. It just gave me a chance to just really mourn with people and share in their suffering. God gave me family at Mercy. I still have relationships to this day with my Mercy sisters, and we still encourage each other, still have Bible studies and things like that. The Lord took me down this journey of singleness for almost 11 years, until I just recently last year met my fiance that I'm going to be marrying in February. And so he took those 11 years to prepare me and to really strip me of things that could potentially damage my marriage. All of that has prepared me to be a wife and a mother, taking that time with the Lord. I'm just now starting to walk in the things that God really has called me to do, and He's showing me that there's so much that He's put in me, that He's locked up so many things in me. And when I left to go into the mission field this last year, my only prayer was not God, I want to see miracles. God, use me powerfully. No, it was God, I just want to know who you are. He doesn't care about what you've done. He does not care. That's the reason why he came. He came before he even knew that whatever you did, he came and chose you before that. He allows us to come as we are because he doesn't intend to leave us that way. He tends to make us new. You're righteous, you're holy, you're beautiful, you're beautifully made. There's nothing else that will satisfy like Jesus. Nothing.